Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know, the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and this episode is being shot at the Trio Media Studios in Lavington, Nairobi, Kenya. They have such a beautiful, cozy space. Their rates are very, very affordable. And if you are a podcaster or you're just starting in this space, I would highly encourage you to record at Trio Media Studios. Tell them Olive of In All Honesty podcast told you to come. Huh? But anyway, today we are discussing femicide, and in studio with me are two beautiful guests. I know them as content creators, but they can go ahead and introduce themselves. Today I have Lydia and Wesley. We can start with you, with Lydia. Vile unataka kujulikana.
Hi guys, my name is Lydia Wanjiru, and I'm sorry my voice is a bit husky because I have a flu.
It's okay.
I'm a digital creator on Instagram, TikTok, and also a YouTuber. And I'm honored to be here.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
And we love your YouTube. We'll plug our content here.
Asanteni sana.
All right, Wesley.
The only man in the room.
Tell us.
So my name is Wesley Jeff. I am a content creator as well. Storyteller on TikTok. Politician by night. Lawyer in training. Many things. But today I'm here as a content creator and a storyteller. So
Okay.
yeah, pleasure.
Politician by night. What is done in darkness shall one day
Come to the light, eh?
Amen.
We can't wait to see.
Hopefully not.
Thank you so much for coming. So today we are discussing a heavy topic, and actually this episode is being shot on the day when we were running the End Femicide March. Women have turned out in numbers in town, and allies have also been there, and we appreciate everyone who showed up and showed out for women. But first, there's something I wanted to get out of the way, because I feel like when we talk about femicide is such a jargon. What do we understand by femicide, just in your own personal way? Anyone can.
Okay, I can go first. What I understand with femicide is the intentional killing of women for them just because they're just women.
Yeah.
There's no because they did ABCD. It's just the intentional killing of women because they exist as women.
If it was a man, they wouldn't have.
No,
been
if
killed for the same.
if you have a penis, you can't face femicide. If you have a vagina, you face femicide. So it's just being a
Simple.
woman.
Yeah.
So for me, I think femicide is more like violence perpetrated on women that leads to death as a result of female unique problems. Yeah, so it could be cultural, it could be societal, it could be mindset, but it leads to that direction.
Okay, so there's violence, and it's just basically death. It's exhausting. It's the fact that just existing, it's you who made that video, right? That just existing with a vagina makes you a target, and that you could be a statistic for femicide. As we speak today, Usikimie has reported, is it 12 cases?
12 cases.
In the last 24 days. And you've just given us an update, so that makes it 13 from an hour ago, which is, you don't know what to do with such information. Like every time you see it, you're scared of going on social media because there will be a new case. And well, that's why we are here today, to just get a perspective of what femicide looks like in Kenya. We want more people on this side. And honestly, for me, I want more men as allies, because I usually feel like when the voice of privilege is on your side, it just sort of propels the direction better. Yeah, it feels like there's a better force behind it. But anyway, I asked people on my socials, how are they generally feeling? This is a femicide edition, and those are some of the thoughts that I'll be going through. And in real time, we'll just then discuss some of the pointers that they've put here. What is coming to your mind, how you want to address that thing. And let's just talk. And yeah, hopefully we'll get more people on the bandwagon to just end femicide. So the first person here says, I feel bored. Can you imagine my boyfriend hasn't said anything regarding this femicide issue? I don't know if that's a good or bad thing.
Wow. The man in the house, have it?
The boyfriend should.
Like, let me just say, it's a hard conversation generally. And it's harder for men who cannot relate to men who can perpetrate violence on women. Like, I made a video on my TikTok asking, by saying, because the people who address this issue, like I understand validly, there's a lot of pain and emotiveness around the issue for valid reasons, right? But there is a consistency of saying, men, you need to stop. Men, stop killing women. So when that message reaches my ear, or a guy like me who would not even think of, leave alone killing a woman, even hitting a woman, I wonder, what's the correlation between me who can't do that and this man who can? It's either this man is similar to me or I am similar to him in some way. And the only commonality between us is that we share male genitalia. And it's a hard conversation to have from the male side, because anything you say, even sometimes valid, can be taken so out of context. You understand? So to this lady whose boyfriend is not saying anything, one, it could be because I know if this was on a public comment section, we know generally what we expect from Kenyans to say, right? Definitely. You'll hear a lot of the babes would say, maybe your boyfriend is an apologist, you know, and or an enabler, because it's not a secret that I have heard women say. We all know amongst our circles, we all know a woman who has been assaulted, but men say they don't know men who assault women. Which, thinking of it, at first I thought it was an unfair statement, but it's true. I don't know a man who has assaulted a woman. I don't know anyone in my circle who has assaulted a woman, because I don't think that is something you bring to the boys' code and tell us, hey, nilienda nikafanyia msichana hivyo. That's not something you come and bring to the boys. But there is a perception that when we are having these male conversations amongst ourselves, that this is something that we can excuse. You understand? I'm telling you, leave alone even something as horrid as that, right? Men, now this is out of context. If men are messing with someone they are not proud of the guys group to see, they will not bring her up. So how do you explain that a man who has done something so horrid would come and talk to that? It's so sometimes silence does not mean enabling or apologism. It just means maybe this guy does not know what to say that could make this situation any better than the situation it is right now. So maybe his silence does not do much, but I see a perspective where maybe he has nothing to say.
I don't know. What's your thought, Lydia?
For me, silence means either you are an alias or an alibi. You're supporting it in one way or another if you don't want to talk about it. Because There's a lady who came to me the other day when this whole thing, just recently, and said their boyfriend made a comment about why women should continue be getting killed. Because
saw that,
you saw that, because why are they eating men's money? And the lady just left quietly and left. You know, until someone says something about it, you don't know where they stand.
Yeah.
So the more you're keeping quiet about it, and you're my boyfriend, I don't know where you stand. I don't know if I might be another statistic tomorrow. So someone not saying something about it doesn't keep them in the good books.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It does not confirm their
Their
stand, but it also does not condemn them, right?
Yes.
Because I
feel
can promise
like
you,
it might condemn them
It
in
might.
the sense that this girl is feeling like, you know, it's not you, Jeff, who's a content creator. We don't expect this woman's boyfriend to go on social media and create a post. It's just that me and him, when we are seated in the house, can he just stand and say, babe, there's these things going on the TV. I'm so sorry. Like, just like, how are you feeling? Check up on your girlfriend now that you're dating a woman and you can see things happening to other women. Does it concern you to just even
ask them how
affirm your girlfriend? Like, are you okay? Do you feel safe? Like, are there things you want me to do around you in this moment that all these things are happening? It doesn't have to be public. He doesn't have to have an opinion about it. He can also just show care for this woman who he's dating.
And I would recommend she ask him, like, generally, like, babe, what do you think about the ongoing femicide?
I would say
I would actually
just ask.
ask.
Generally, don't even make it about you.
An ask is better than an assumption.
Yeah.
Ask. Lead from a point of questioning. Like, what's your thought process on this? You know? Because this guy may, again, I'm telling you, it's even me who's a content creator, and I like to think I'm very daring in some of the opinions I give, right?
Sure.
So, like, I walk that line very carefully. And I really try and think about what I say, because I know it won't go away, right?
Yes.
Anything you post on social media doesn't
go away. So in my head, I'm thinking, I'm walking the line, and I know the risk, and I know what people might misinterpret. It's a hard conversation already to have, even when my thought process is clear. Now think of the average Joe whose thought process is not clear. Unless you ask him, he might never be prompted to talk about it. You might find that a man like that, his response is, he starts telling you, don't go out at night. That's his version of saying something about it. Because men do process like that. Like,
so I think she should just
ask
to know where she stands, because I'm guessing now she's in a moment of fear where she's like, is this an apologist? So the next person here says, I'm feeling angry at pick-me's and organized religion. So do you feel like religion has played part in what we're experiencing right now?
in what way? Like in their non-silence, in their non-participation?
I personally would say because of how it was ingrained into us to stay, and that divorce should never ever be an occurrence.
Also, now this is in the context
It's
of people who are
long-term
dating or in commitment.
Marriage, in commitment and long term. And even you see some of the things we are seeing, some of the very disgusting comments we are seeing where it's like it's prostitution because it's sex before marriage or sex outside marriage. All those things are set by religion. So do you think religion has played part in setting up?
In a way, yes, and in a way, no, because we have come to an era of social media and civilization and westernization where I don't think at this point in time, people can be shamed because of having sex. And that is why when someone goes on social media and says, oh, women should stop prostitution so that they stop getting killed, I'm like, who are women having sex with? And then you cannot base a killing on a moral value. You know, if you decide you want to have sex today, Olive, nobody should ask you why. It's your body, you are an adult, you know, it's about you and God, how you answer to God that you decided to have sex before marriage.
Yeah.
Or outside marriage, yeah. So I feel like the church has kept quiet. So it's supporting on keeping quiet in a way that even if the Bible says ABCD, or even if the religion said ABCD, also all these reasons does not warrant someone getting killed. Having a life taken away because of prostitution. We see even in the Bible, there was this prostitute who went ahead and touched Jesus' lobe or something. Robe.
Was it the hem of Jesus? That one was the one bleeding for 12 years.
There was a prostitute who wanted to be stoned.
To be stoned.
And Jesus, if you have never committed a sin, be the first one to cast, a stone. So it means like some things, let's leave them on moral, on people's moral values, and not as a reason why someone should get killed. So I think the church is quiet, just as our politicians for reasons. Nowadays again, religion has become politics.
It's not nowadays, but
it has
it's always been.
Now it's blowing.
As a politician, the church is almost the best place to campaign. It's almost the best, but that's a whole different issue. What I think about the church, I think the church could do more.
It says organized religion, so
let's talk about
we're all Christians.
Organized religion. Personally, I'm a Christian, so I think it cuts across. See, our society is formed of deficiencies. People who go to any institution are looking to cure a certain deficiency. Whether it's school, it's a knowledge deficiency. If it's hospital, it's a health deficiency. Now, if it's organized religion, then it's a spiritual deficiency. Now, I think the church could do more in the sense that there is always a presumed downward relationship in religion. Like I'm listening to you. So I think the church could play a bigger role in trying to prevent these issues, because as much as it's not all men who do these issues, it's still men who do these issues. You understand? So in a group of 100 boys, you don't know which one might decide to become one of those, based off different circumstances, right? So if the church could talk to these boys and start inculcating those mentalities of non-violence, aggression approach towards women, then because I think prevention is better than cure. True. You never know what percentage of prevention you are giving by just talking to a lot of people. So I think they could do more. Personally, I just think they could do more. Right now, where they are at, I don't know why, because there's not much talk from the political or the church, the religion side. So maybe they could just do more on that.
Yeah, they could probably just speak out. A lot of times, I think the problem we're having with people, even today, Pasari's getting kicked out of the march, was that you didn't speak.
You've been quiet.
Yeah, people just needed you to talk. Like if the church is quiet, it says something because you're a voice of authority in the society. She also says angry at pick-me's. I guess pick-me's are the women who are supporting the narrative that's going around that women deserve to die for whatever it is that they were doing. I would like to remind you that you are a woman and you'll soon be in that case. And
I'm sorry. And when we say pick-me's, we overlook at it sometimes, because a pick-me can literally put you in trouble.
Yes, they can.
Those ladies in friends group that would rather impress boys in the group by bringing their friend along and making sure she's intoxicated enough for the boys in the group to take advantage of her. Those are pick-me.
They are setting the prey for the friends.
Boys, and it's a dangerous kind of pick-me's.
For me, I see those kinds of ladies as pimps rather than pick-me's, because
but they want to impress the boys, because how are they?
A pimp gets paid. If you have
and we'll get to the payment part, because there is definitely evidence online, right? But here's what I think on pick-me's. I do agree there are women who want to appeal to the male demographic, right? At the expense of other women, to the extent of saying outlandish things. A good example is a podcaster called Just Pearly Things. When I started listening to Just Pearly Things, she used to have some very solid points in terms of how men associate with women and the challenges that men go through. But soon after, she started saying a lot of outlandish stuff like women should not vote, women should not be in leadership positions. If you don't know, I guess by this reaction, you don't know who Just Pearly Things is, right? Please do not go look for her. I will advise you, don't. Because she will trigger you. So I stopped listening to her because I thought as much as I do like when a woman speaks for the other side at some point, just like you would like a man to speak for this side, I thought she wasn't adding value because she started saying outlandish things. But also there's a risk of when women speak for the other side, they are called pick-me's automatically. Because we'll get to the different context of the conversation that we're having a bit of it off air in terms of this whole prostitution tag, like you're going to Airbnb to chase guys with money. We'll get to that. And you'll see just by speaking for it, how you can automatically be branded as a pick-me, you understand? So we have to be very careful on how we contextualize these issues, because a pick-me will say, you're dying because of your own fault. That's a pick-me. Understand?
Yeah.
But a woman saying you need to be caution above the caution you already take, because I don't think women are careless. There's some things, and we'll get to it, about male privilege, about on this issue, that I know women are careful, but you can never negate extra caution. Understand? So women, when they say that, they are automatically branded pick-me's. Men, when we say that, we're automatically called enablers, chauvinists, misogynists, and all the other names that come with it.
I think there's a whole spectrum, and to every cause, someone will join and become an extremist or will take advantage of the cause. So that's what we are struggling with. But another person here says, cutting people off because it's getting scary out here. So I'm guessing it's related to the first one, where the girl was also like, my boyfriend is not talking. Someone else says, most men are thinly disguised as misogynists. And this, I guess, has come out also recently. Where, for me, it was a case that happened, was it in 2018? Where I was describing how we had issues in school. It was about voting and all that. And I said, I don't like a particular politician because I know they sponsored violence in our school. And I was telling the person I was talking to at the time, not yet even dating, and I was telling him women were raped as young as first years. You just joined school, you don't know what is happening. And this man looked me dead in the eye and told me, was it you who was raped? So,
Should not.
Yes, it is at this point you realize, and this is someone whose house you've been going to. This is someone who you've been talking to every day. Someone you've been seen in public with, in a restaurant. If this person does anything to you, how do you explain to people? I am an innocent person.
That's crazy.
So this is the point. I thought, do you want to build on anything?
I mean, honestly, I can't relate. I can't relate to how that would feel.
Okay.
Because, I look at it from a guy's perspective, right? I'm chasing a girl, we've been talking, and all the things that come with that. She has no clue what lies at the back of my mind.
Yeah, you don't know.
But we'll get to the stories part. I'm a storyteller, so I do have some different kind of stories.
It's just, as I said, it's just the small comments. And I think I'm more cautious right now. I think I started last year getting cautious about the one word you say that can turn the whole conversation around, because is it you? So it shouldn't be none of my business.
Why are you angry?
Or it shouldn't be like an issue. Because that's why I tell women, listen to what these men are saying. Stop using emotions. Just listen. Listen to the words they are using. That's when you know where you lie with this person. Because you see, that saved you from...
Yes.
From there, did you proceed like maybe?
No. Like after I walked, you see, like that woman who said she walked away peacefully. Yes. I left the house very quietly. I was like, bye, see ya. And then
you cut.
But
this is one of the reasons why men are ghosted. You're wondering.
Most women will be like, anyway, by the way, it wasn't me who was raped, so what the heck? But now you will hear he has raped someone somewhere, and then you'll be like, he's your man. Yeah. Because I was having a conversation this week, before the end of this week, on my Instagram, and we were talking about church boys, the things church boys have done. And I came to realize we are not ready even for that conversation, because the number of women that have sired with these, priests,
should have
these Muslim
have a conversation around.
We should do that.
Church girls and church boys.
It's a lot.
Oh my
goodness!
And
they're hiding under.
Oh my goodness!
Yes.
It's a whole other animal.
It's something like it's small things, and here you're like, oops.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's all, the church is so protected. Like, even right now, you tell your parents about the church, uko usiguze. So, yeah. Someone else here says, I'm sorry for the femicide victims. The most recent incidents have exposed what has been going on. I guess that one is just putting out love. I think it's sick that it's been downplayed and the victims blamed for not being safe enough. So I think
that's the safety. That's the safety conversation. Okay, that's
I
a
don't
great
know
The
if
point.
you are
moment you
supposed.
dress, have you ever dressed when you're dressing in the morning to go out in public? You just look at it. Ama, this dress is too short. Ama, this blouse is showing cleavage. Ama, I want to walk in a particular street. Ama, what time will I be
Stop
coming
dating.
back? Because if I'm coming back past, let's say 7 p.m.,
Yeah.
8 p.m., then I'll be on a short dress. Now it will be at night. I might be a victim. Like, women, we are always thinking about our
We are
safety.
thinking so
So I don't know
much.
which other safety we are supposed to take. Like,
You even have to, like, or on the days, you even have clothes for Uber and clothes for Matatu.
Exactly.
There are clothes you don't wear on a Matatu.
True.
There are clothes you don't
True.
And that's why people got surprised why the Wazungus, the white people, they wear anything they want,
It's
any
funny.
day they want.
It's funny because
anywhere
I've
they
also
want.
found myself in a variation of the same situation. Maybe you're going out with a girl and you tell her, if you're wearing that dress, take an Uber.
Imagine.
Me.
Because you're
Because
already
I know,
cautious.
because I'm thinking to myself, not every guy is me. And let me be honest, right? If you want to see women in Nairobi, just go to archives and look at women. Dressed how they want in their own fashions and styles. But a guy like me will look at that, and even if you like what you see, you just be quiet and be like, she looks good, that's it, you know? But there are not people like that. The reason why I'd tell her, don't wear that in a matatu, is because I know not every guy is me or guys who think like me. There's somebody who will be tempted to say something out loud, and you don't know how much they might take that. Which I think, from a male perspective, I acknowledge the male privilege there. Because for me, and this is an example I give all the time on my life, I usually say, mimi naweza toka kwa nyumba yangu niingie matatu. And the only person who will talk to me between my place of my start point of my journey to my end point of my journey is the makanga asking me for money. Like, fake wapi. Nobody else will talk to me. That is not the same for women. I make it as a joke in terms of how much attention you guys get from guys, right? I usually say the caretaker will smile at you, the movie guy out there will smile at you. When you stand there on the stage, those guys who wakujaza matu watakusimamisha wakwambie madam sijui nini, like, you will always get constant. The one you sit next to.
Yeah,
so
like you can't
for
have
me, the
quiet
point
time.
the point I'm trying to raise in that point is, when do you pick out genuine men who want, like, when do you see the effort is genuine? So in reverse, that also shows a version of male privilege, because there are some things me I don't have to worry
Like my
about.
Uber driver, the one I've come with right now to here,
Yeah.
he's dressed in a short, the beach short,
Beach
the
short.
flower, and in a vest. And
He's
it's a
living his
Saturday.
best life.
No one.
Yeah, nobody,
and it's too
like,
short, like
for
it's
me,
up to here.
for me as a guy, I don't ever have to think about that. You understand?
don't.
And
But
and
then
it,
if I was the one, or if it was an Uber lady driver,
Yeah.
dressed like that,
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
we have
have
all these.
opinions.
Why she's
That's why-
like
that's
that.
why- and-
She's
and you
operating,
see,
she's not professional. I don't
for
know.
me, I
So
think
much.
that is now where the societal structure of ours defines who we are. You understand? I constantly get the conversation of double standards in society, right? And because this conversation is more about women-centric issues, we'll not talk about the male double standards. But for me, I usually see double standards tell you clearly that you are a woman and this is a man. Because as a result of just dressing, you see it clearly. I don't get to think about my dressing, you get to think about your dressing. So in terms of safety, because this is one of the most dangerous lines to walk as a man, even if you mean well, when you talk about safety, one, the automatic response from someone who is, like, passionately talking about the issue is you're blaming those people, which I'm not. That's usually the first thing. Or rather, I'll speak for my part as a content creator, right? And I know I speak for a certain group of people who listen to me, right? So when you talk about regards to safety, I see it as you can never have enough safety above from whatever you're doing. I don't know what else you could do, but I'm just saying you could never be too careful in any situation. And I give a relative example like this. Assume you're walking in town at 2 a.m., right? and you have your handbag and your phone inside. If you take out your phone, that doesn't automatically mean you want your phone to get stolen, right? It just means you've taken out your phone. But by taking out the phone, you've significantly increased the chances of something or someone spotting that you have a phone, right? Now, does that again mean that you deserve your phone stolen from you? No. Second thing, even if you did not remove your phone, it's within your you've hidden it, right? And someone goes out of their way to come and strangle you, akupige na achukue simu. You see, what that means is this person is a thief.
Yeah.
You understand? That person has gone out of their way to hurt you. And past that, you cannot be held responsible for not being careful. You understand? That's exactly what I try to push in terms of safety. Because one day I will have a daughter, right? And I wish to God I could tell her, do what you want. The society will protect you. But even now, Lydia, as you say, you take enough precautions as is. If you had a kid that's a chick and you had a kid that's a boy, you're not going to bring them up the same way. Because you know. So, and that's the paradox of our society, right? We want it to be so free, but it really is not.
So it's gotten to a point where we want to normalize safety. Take more precaution. What about the thief?
Yeah.
Like, catch the thieves first. Start catching the thieves so that it sends out a message
to the other thieves.
You can't keep saying, just keep protecting yourself. What will I do if I'm killed in my own house? I've been killed in my own house where I call my own home, where I pay my own bills. What more precaution did you want me to take? Like, where was I supposed? I enter the house and chimber the ground and get it. Like, what more am I to do?
And for me, the way I see it in that situation is exactly the point I make right after that, right? You see, right now, as she's rightly put it, there are different contexts of how women end up losing their lives, right? There is the whole prostitution angle, and then there's a whole...
But the statistics as of yesterday said 70% of the femicide cases have been done by the husbands. And
absolutely, like people that women know.
It's not a whole stranger you've met.
So, for me, I'm saying, like let's say we've talked about the statistics. Right now, it's 13 ladies who've lost their lives in January, right? That means...
Those are what we know.
Those are what you know, right? And it's exactly the point, because that means there are 13 killers out there. You understand? You take them off the map. Do you really solve the problem, or do you just address a consequence of an existing problem?
There's an existing problem, but there needs to be at least consequences. Because I'll give 2 examples. You remember the woman who was harassed somewhere? She was... Boda riders stopped her car and harassed her.
Yeah.
And then I think the Boda guys were arrested.
Yeah.
And that whole week, I swear to you, Jeff, we could have walked in this town naked. A Boda guy would dare not call you. So just the consequences. And a lot of times, this is the same thing happening with Uber and Bolt. The same drivers. The same driver driving an Uber is the same driver driving a Bolt. But you take Bolt and they know there are no consequences. There's no way they are getting tracked. This driver will harass you. So consequences need to be...
But when they're using Uber,
same person. Perfect 5-star.
You see why I'm supporting Olive on this? In the UAE, the Arab countries, when you rape or when you assault a woman or once you steal, there is public shaming. Like, when you rape and assault a woman sexually, you get killed publicly in daylight. Like, everyone is watching you. When you steal, and now this one also depends on the level of theft, they cut your hands. That is the law in Arab countries. So everyone is so cautious, like, hey, I don't want to. I want to be.
I think that's
and
a
that's
bit
why
of...
the Arab country.
Actually, in Meru they used to cut hands for thieves.
It should go back to that.
I think that's a bit of Moses' law. Like, if you walk around and you meet a blind person, you know this blind person was a thief. Most blind people were thieves at some point. And I agree. Like, I'm not saying we don't have consequences. I'm just saying, alongside the consequences, because you see, the consequences are subject to a very long process, right? And what you're talking about is instant justice, which unfortunately won't happen, right?
I think it's only for this case where we want the consequences to be
instantaneous.
No, to be elongated, like it's long, like we're thinking of it as a process, a low process. Because look at our culture. I don't know if it's Africa, but I know in Kenya, the one thing you would be warned about growing up was being a thief. You dare even take someone's pencil. Where will take Kwataya now Chomo? That is how we know.
Exactly.
And the people who are doomed in life were being told that one will be a thief. And that is how we treat thieves. And thieves would deserve to die on the spot. Someone steals a phone like this, they're caught in town and Tayana inaekwa na unawashwa moto. Why can't that happen for rapists?
See, now,
why isn't that happening?
I like that you brought up because you've made my point for me, right?
It's taking so much.
This one we have to we have protocol
like
for
that,
processing this one.
Like that boyfriend who went up to Eldoret,
Can you imagine?
And slaughtered the girlfriend. It took 5 years or 4 years. For
Took a while.
justice to imagine, and they
That's when we have process. And a thief right now, a thief for chicken. Chicken is at
Let me tell you. I like that you made my point for me because that's what I was about to say. Like alongside the consequences, think of how those consequences have been developed. It's a societal thing. You see, like what you've talked about, because for me, the way I look at it, like, right, we've had issues of women losing their lives at different periods of time, right? There was a lady who got thrown from 4th floor.
Yeah.
There was the lady called Velvin, and then there was a lady who got hacked by her boyfriend in Eldoret. Those cases are not 2 years ago. They were much earlier, right? Now we're having a different conversation that has been permeated in 1 month. For me, I usually see it like, if we continue to address these ladies as statistics, right? What we are doing is we are creating a situation where we are buying time till the next statistics. I like what you said because what you've done is you've shown that you can institutionalize a correction mindset. You understand? So amesema you are taught ukiiba utaekwa taya. Now and you could see it. Everyone has grown up in a situation where you've seen how a thief has been dealt with. You understand? So even thieves, even when you see these reform channels and thieves talk, they enter knowing siku moja utapatana na justice ya mob. You understand? So it's an institutionalism kind of thing. Like I think the solution, which is what I usually say, let's not solve the poisoned water question. Let's solve the poisoned tank. Because it's the tank that is poisoned. It's not the water. Okay, Lydia, today if you take that water and you just umwage, so you may survive. That means, for purposes of this context, you have a great man who would never hurt you. Understand? But that does nothing to the 3 women next to you who might have boyfriends who make those comments. You understand? That's why I'm saying, if we look at it from that perspective where we think of how do we correct this issue moving forward, these cases will go down based off mindset. It takes time.
Political leaders should
have spoken.
They are quiet. Now it has been left for the common man. This is where our political, because who are going to pass these laws in the parliament?
Nikisimama kura mnaona aje?
Simama kwanza we see maybe we'll be like paternity utokea the match when
we are paying hefty taxes walipwe mshahara and they are quiet.
It's like higher. Scared shitless. I'm feeling scared shitless. I am even scared to take walks. Same. All the women right now are just feeling, and I don't know if it's happening with you, Lydia. There's this, I was talking to my friend Shiro and I was telling her, when we are walking right now, there's this consciousness of feeling like every man I meet, I'm thinking, is this someone? Is this someone? How is this person? Like you're walking on the streets and you're thinking, am I brushing shoulders with murderers? And
it's so emotionally draining.
It is draining.
And even you're living your life like in doubt. You no longer know the people you surround yourself with. And even it's draining. For me, I've just told you maybe before we started shooting, I feel emotionally drained. And I think that's the reason why one of the reasons why I'm sick. Because there was a day I sat in my house, I cried. You asking me why I was crying? I don't know. Because it's women, and then the comments, the utterances on social media about women, tutawaua, why are you eating men's money? Like, where are we running to? These are the brothers we live with, these are your fathers, these are the boyfriends we are dating. And you don't know if someone, even when they come and tell you like, no, it's okay, it's doing, you don't even know. You know, people speak one thing and the actions are different. Even when we listen to these men, like the ones that we are near, that we live with maybe, or we are related to, you don't even know what they are capable of doing, leave alone what they are saying.
Yeah,
that's the problem. It's draining.
It's how you grew up with your brothers and your fathers and your uncles, and now that you've grown up, you start realizing they were wife bataras. You start realizing they have 700 women. Yes, you're just like,
some uncles.
Wait, these people that we see on the news
They're
are related to us.
Exactly.
So it's that moment of, that's where the helplessness comes from. Where you're
that's
just
when you
like,
start realizing, kumbe, my father is a violent
yes,
man. He beat my mom too. You know,
you don't. It is so much for us right now.
It's so, you start even to look at yourself. It's not even on social media like, I saw my father beating my mom.
Yes.
And then my uncle was one day accused of raping someone. Some of us have been raped by our own uncles.
Our very
and
own
it was
uncles,
covered up by the family members. And sometimes some people have said they have been raped by their cousins, their brothers.
And when your mom found out, she told you, go and change.
Go and change.
Why are you walking
no,
like
in my familia. You that's when you realize you harbor these people in your homes.
Yeah. So as Jeff was saying, it will take from, like, when you see some of the placards we had today was, don't what is it called? Like, train your boys, train your sons. Don't tell your girls to be careful. Like, it starts from a very young age. I feel what we're seeing right now is a lot of men who thought they had power over women. That's how we were raised. At least where I grew up, men were just vibing. They were just chilling. Women were supposed to serve men. Whether it's food, whether it's clothes to be washed, whether they could be your age mates. But you are doing these things for them. Yes, those are boys. Boys go sit outside. The teenagers
play.
Yeah, they play. Teenagers, I don't know, do what. The older men sit and drink. You women are working around the clock. Cotton plantation.
But my question is this: Are we as women willing to understand that these are to call, if the more we are talking about these, and if we want to start dealing with the issue from the root cause, are we willing to accept that it is starting from our homes? Are we willing to accept? That we are starting, hard conversation.
That's a hard conversation,
like from
to
our
have.
brothers, from our cousins to our fathers. It's there.
Because the same way we call people deadbeat. Your brother at home is not providing for the child.
He left his wife and the child, and he's back, and his mother.
But you're not addressing this one at home.
No, nobody's addressing him.
That's why I'm saying, like I said, if you had the very thing I said off air, and even somewhere within this conversation, I said we have a societal decay.
Yes, it will.
Like, and if we don't look at, if we stop looking at things as statistics, today it's whiny, right? Tomorrow it will be another girl that we don't even know. If we address them as statistic, like women who've lost their lives, what we're doing is just delaying a problem that's going to happen again, and we'll be outraged again. Another thing, you see these conversations, that what she's talked about, every time the family institutions gets eroded, things go wrong on so many levels. People don't even realize they've had toxic upbringing until they are grown up.
Yeah.
And you're understanding now, I have children and I have become exactly like the mother I didn't like.
Didn't want.
So it's the same thing you're talking about, right?
My children, the father that
I ran away from. Exactly. So there's a lot of unlearning in order to fix that reference of the poisoned tank I was talking about. Because if you don't do that, now we just address individual problems and we think they're isolated cases. Ni venye saizi imefanyika so close together that people are seeing this is not even normal. I think there is that societal decay.
But I've not had even one family come and say that is our son. And you know,
amejificha hapa.
Can you do that?
Ningumu. Because even in families, like you've rightly put it, uncles, cousins have assaulted people. You found the men, there's a lot of things, and I don't want to make it I am really avoiding bringing a male comparison to this conversation, but just allow me to make this one, right? You'll walk around with men here. I had a foundation for men's mental health, and my co-founder was a woman. And men would come and talk about their issues and tell me we won't speak in front of her. And then a man comes and tells you, I was sodomized by my uncle when I was young. You see, I'm not trying to like compare these situations, right? I'm just telling you that conversation about family decay and moral decay is so heavy.
Yeah,
it's heavier than even the femicide conversation we're having now, because the femicide is a product of that.
A product of,
understand?
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, like, what you're saying, valid, but people are not ready for that conversation. I promise you.
We better be. We better be.
We will make them.
We
We will make noise until they just
we just
stand and
start the
listen.
conversation. You'll have to listen. I don't know.
Because these are the root cause of why we are here. Femicide.
Yeah.
Because where has it? How does someone get the guts to even kill someone?
Yeah. Someone says exhausted. Trust me, all of us. Someone else says the men who are justifying the murder of the late Waeni and Starlet are potential abusers, if not murderers themselves. Society has rationalized violence towards women in the name of teaching submission. So there's the aspect of submission. I hate the word submission so much. But someone else says, whatever is going on needs to stop. I am bitter about women who feel that we are exaggerating. Yes, there has come up cases of women who are saying, okay, so one video where a woman was saying, oh, sijui a media person has gone and reported this and reported where, and now all of you are up in arms that this is happening. I'm just like, but one case is too many. So you have to speak up for it. But there are people who feel like we are exaggerating. You have... Lydia may choke.
Those are the picnics. You know me, I stopped arguing with such people. Even the men in my comment section saying, I'm no longer arguing with those people.
Yeah.
I'm realizing that the difference between those men on the comment section and John Matara is they haven't gotten the opportunity. That one got the opportunity to murder someone. This one on my comment section
just hasn't
gotten the opportunity to murder someone. So how do you argue with
Let me give you a different perspective, because I agree. Let me tell you, the comment section of social media is wild. Every one of us makes content.
Everyone has an opinion.
Let me tell you, it's such as on a grave issue like this that is so triggering for you, and I can respect that. But even think of the content that you make that is fun. You're not meant to offend anybody, right? You'll find that there are people who will come to your comment section just to respond.
Me, I don't mind when someone is body shaming me.
And that's okay.
I don't mind.
You see, it's because maybe you've processed that, right? It's because you've processed that in your own capacity.
Okay.
The reason I'm trying to make the comparison that sometimes you'll make a comment and someone will not be addressing whatever you are saying. Anakuja tu kudisagree na wewe. Ndio tu asikia amedisagree na wewe. Are you getting that point?
So psychotic people on
the internet. Unapata mtu cannot differentiate between a serious issue like this and when Lydia, whom I don't like as a content creator, has made content and I just want to annoy her. So anakuja na hiyo mindset the same way. And I realize how to pick people like that.
It's like I didn't realize sometime back what unfat meant. I used to make content and I show my body and then I would see unfat. I'm like,
what's unfat? I still don't know.
You're fat, so unfat.
Or like reverse your fatness.
Reverse. So at first I didn't understand what it meant until later I saw another woman defend me like, yeah, you keep body shaming people, you keep fat shaming people. That's what I understood. Oh, it is. I didn't know what it is. And now to support his comment, to say some people just say anything,
just say it.
To object whatever you are doing.
Ndo nakwambia as a content creator, and let me tell you, I've realized as content creators, you may not have political power to move things, right? But you have willpower over some people. The people who come to your content every day, community. Right? You have, everybody builds their own community that listen to you.
You actually influence thoughts in some way. Yeah.
So I'm saying, you hold yourself to a higher regard just by being a content creator. So even what you make and how you respond to those comments, sometimes you give them too much power by responding. You see, like that person, you will find that I found, and this is a warning I give to content creators like me. I was walking somewhere in town for work errand, right? I get into somewhere and someone stops me, says, "Hi, Wes." And I'm like, "Hi." I look at this person. I may meet her so familiarly, but I'm sure I've never seen your place in my life.
Yeah.
Tells me, "Oh, I love your content very much, blah, blah, blah." Nikamwambia, okay, because I do have good memory. Nikamuuliza, "What's your username?" Akaniambia __ something. Nikamwambia, okay, cool. Nice to meet you. Mimi, baadaye, after nimekaa tu, nimetulia, yeah, by the way, let me check out that account. Angalia __ something. Tell me why I found it's the exact same lady at some point in time. She had gone on a 10-comment rant abusing me for an opinion I had. But now we've met. She's saying what? She likes your content. So I'm telling you, somebody will just trigger you.
Okay, I said I've used a coil for 7 years. I was just telling women, instead of this P2, it's killing you. It's healthy. It's so risky to use a P2. And they went on Facebook and talked about how one day I'll come here on social media. Now I'm bragging about having a 7-year-old coil, and one day I'll come on social media. I'll try having a baby, and then I'll come and ask for people to help me and to pray for me. Funny enough, when that message was forwarded to me, that same lady has followed me, and one day I had sent her 500 bob. She had asked me on DM.
You know the funny thing about content creators, we remember
that username.
You remember
the problem, they have used the same username on Facebook and the same profile picture. So the same person on my DM, and I DM'd her. That said, "Is this you?" She said, "No, you know my phone. My husband had done it."
Someone has hacked her phone.
She said her husband had done what with her phone. I told her it's okay, and I blocked her. This person I sent to her 500, she was saying her husband is not providing, they are going to sleep hungry with the child. I had 500 bob I sent to her, and I was like, guy, it's always the people that are on your DMs.
Oh yeah, that's why I'm telling you. Sometimes even in an issue that is as serious as this, as a content creator, you need to look at your comments, see the valid ones, and address those ones. Otherwise, those same people who are triggering you are the same one who you will make. Like now, that person was not seeing that you are trying to make the point that you'd rather use a coil than a P2, right? It's a simple enough point. Now, huyu mtu kwa sababu just wants to respond to you has gone and made it an issue of childbearing. That's not your responsibility.
Come back suffering and asking people to pray for me.
But people they probably don't even they just hate you. I don't know. Humans.
But that's why I always support this narrative of women hate. It's always your fellow women.
They've been anyway. We've been over time taught what is it called? Our misogyny is internalized even for women, because sometimes you even feel people upholding very dangerous notions towards women are women. People
themselves.
Gatekeeping security.
Women
are women. It's your mothers and your aunties.
It's actually your mothers.
Who will give you up for
your mothers and your aunties.
Yeah.
I made the content yesterday. I was saying there was a lady who was talking about how she's dated a big fish, right? Yeah. And I was saying this big fish called the mother and gave the mother money and had a relationship with the mother. And I said a comment, I said, hapa hata ukijaribu kuambia mamako unatoka atakwambia ni shida gani uko nayo. Ni kwa sababu umempata na mwanamke mwingine.
Clothes on your back.
Kuna kitu umekosa.
Anyway, one person says, I feel like pray. I guess we've talked about that. Another person says, angry. Very, very angry. I know right now there's a lot of anger going around. Just let us feel angry. Let me tell you, if you have to wake up every day and think about whether you'll come back to your house, you will be angry. Let women feel their anger today. Someone says, haitaenda vizuri na the general public. You follow me. I'm guessing that is an opinion that I would not appreciate as well. If you want, you can send it. Someone says, sad and low-key scared. Nobody really knows when they'll be next and who will be the one to harm them. So that one we've talked about as well.
That is my current scare. That's my current... I feel like I'm living in this horrid state of mind, like...
Who? Jeff? Nikago? Like that's how
you don't know about the people around you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I think every woman can attest to that.
Yeah. Anyway. Is there something you want to So I had sometimes people send me emails, so that's what I'm going to read. It's a long one, but I feel like it encompassed a lot of things, and I feel like it addresses the root. So we'll get just your thoughts on this after I've read it out. So Laura says, "Hello, Olive. The goings on are petrifying, to say the least, but are nothing but a true reflection of the society we live in. There's always been a bias and double standard when it comes to treatment and perception of women. While not as prevalent now, most couples have always preferred to have male children who they held in high regard and treated their female children as second-class citizens under the same roof. In these very homes, gender-based violence reigned, with fictitious and questionable allegations that often led to women being beaten black and blue. Workspaces and male-dominated industries have always been difficult for women to navigate, not because they aren't qualified, but their qualifications are always looked at through a different lens and their deliverables judged differently. We live in a harshly patriarchal society. Women have always had it rough, but have triumphed nonetheless. The world is in transition, and women can now see through all the lies they've been fed about their own femininity all along. There's been a lot of learning and unlearning. This has led to the rise of woke woman, and this is a perceived threat to masculinity. For it only when everything is broken down and everything can be seen clearly, men have always gotten away with most evils. We've even been led to believe that male infidelity is acceptable and it should just be tolerated. That homes are only stable when men earn more than women, and that women are to blame for absolutely everything. That in fact is the genesis of the victim blaming we see case after case. You are damned if you do, damned if you don't. And while no the word is a complete sentence, it's received with so much bitterness. We need each other. We shouldn't be in unhealthy competition with each other. Until the root cause is addressed and we learn to see each other as human beings first instead of different genders, the problem will persist. I don't believe there is much more that women can do that they aren't already doing. Just treat others as you would like to be treated. Also, I think life is also difficult for the good man. There's so much antagonism towards him, bullying and belittling, especially by other men. Maybe that's part of the problem and can be a whole other topic on its own. My sympathies to anyone who has experienced any evils simply for existing as the gender they are. May you find peace and healing. Yours truly, Laura.
Patriarchy.
Yeah.
I think men, since we were born, men have been conditioned to thinking that if a woman slightly goes above you, you stop existing as a man or you stop being recognized as a man. It's patriarchy. They think by disrespecting a woman, it makes you stay on the number one position in the society. And I don't know why, because careers boom, homes boom with women, careers are booming because women are taking up spaces. I think, why can't we just coexist?
Let me weigh in on that, right? You know, the thing about our society is that we're not honest with ourselves at all. For starters, large amounts of the African societies, even if you look into history, were not patriarchal. Like, the patriarchy is a concept put on us by the West. The woman's position was very clear in African society. Now, my problem with why I'm saying we are dishonest is because we want to adopt Westernization but still maintain Africanism to an extent, which creates a big problem in how we relate, right? Yeah. Because you see, back in the day, I do agree there are some things that now, being exposed to different cultures and different ways of thinking, you can't say there was oppression. But look at our cultures the way they used to run. Like, the women had their roles. And I'll say a statement that has been said before, like, women were to be seen, not heard, back in the day, right? But women were the ones who ran the homes. Men were just the face of it. Men were the final mouthpieces. Like you find that a lot of these people back in the day who had status consulted with their wives a lot, but behind closed doors. And there was a clear demarcation of our roles and responsibilities and lanes that we had as African culture. I think the problem has come when we want to take modern benefits and maintain African cultures, which creates such a problem because you don't know how to move. You see, like what Lydia is saying, careers boom. For example, if I meet you, you have your businesses, you have your things you're doing, and you earn more than me. What I've seen in you is a woman. I've not looked at you as what you do. You understand? I'm not interested in what you are. I've just seen who you are. Then why is it that when we start associating, the who you are or the what you are becomes a problem? It's because also from the other's perspective, yes, there is a question of male ego, but there's also a question of the way you said, there's a belief that, no, it was Olive who read the email. There's a belief that families are more stable when men have more financial capable, right? And it's also in statistic that when women earn more, there's a problem. You understand? So who do we pin that problem on? Is it male ego or is it the upset of balance between roles and responsibilities? Like now, I had a separate situation, right? Some months back, a guy texted me at 12 in the AM, at night, after my life, and told me, Wesley, I want to kill my wife. Oh yeah. Nikamuuliza ati, Kanembe just found out she's cheating, and she's cheating with a colleague and a mzungu. And nimepata messages. Proceeds to send me a whole lot of messages. Then nikamuuliza, okay. Akaniambia ati actually the only reason that I'm not doing anything stupid right now is because I love my daughters. So I told him that you must be the stupidest man on earth. So he was asking why, because he didn't expect that. He told me, akaniuliza why, nikamwambia, so you're here telling me you love your daughters very much. That's the only reason you've not harmed this woman. So you want to harm this woman, you end her life, and you go to committee. How have you solved your daughters that you love so much? Nikamwambia the best thing you can do is you leave or she leaves. Nikamwambia there's nothing you will solve by harming this woman.
And why is killing your first? Let
me tell you. Now, this guy there's a lot of context in between, right? Like he had a job, he lost his job. He was working for a politician and then got axed with the politician didn't make it. So I looked at it from this perspective. He says the cheating started when the woman got a bigger job.
Yeah.
That's when even her demeanor towards him changed. Those are points I cannot invalidate. But I was of the essence that we are at the conclusion point. You are saying you want to do something. That's the problem. The context that is building up to this problem is additives to the end result of the problem, right? Yeah. So I told him, the best thing you can do for your kids is separate yourself from that woman. Now. Akaniambia mimi nimejenga siwezi toka. Nikamwambia then find a way for her to toka.
Yeah.
Because that is and you see, that's the point I'm trying to make, right? There is a clear issue that we don't want to address in terms of how we've been socialized as men and women, right? Because, like, for example, a different conversation of how I was talking about safety. If, like you said, kuna vitu mimi sitafikiria, wewe utafikiria, ndio? And you'll hear women say, my dress, my choice. Ideally, that's how it should be. You should be able to dress the way you want to. But is that the reality of things? No, it's not. Because people will judge you from how you look. That is just the truth of the matter. And it's not it's not a West thing. It's not even a next man thing. It's how society has conditioned us. Because if you go to France today, wear your bikini during summer, nobody cares. You literally walk into restaurants in your bikini and a sheer top and you're fine. Here you try that even in short shorts, it's a problem. Because societies define a lot of what is considered moral. You understand? So, are we saying that the problem is within our morality or our mindset? What should change?
But I think men are having a problem with moving on and accepting that women are allowed to change their minds, because amongst the statistics that we are dealing with femicides in Kenya is where a woman in Kiambu, she was slaughtered by her ex-husband, and she had already started moving on because they had, separated. That man cannot move on and just seeing you exists. And then today's case, today being the March day for femicide, a lady went back to her mother's house after ending the relationship with the husband. The husband has come all the way up to the mother's house and slaughtered the lady. Brings me to the question, are men having a problem with moving on, or women saying no?
There's a possession problem.
There's a possession problem because what this lady has mentioned in the mail, what we're experiencing right now is as a result of a shift that's happening in the society.
Women,
we were brought up, men thinking they had power over a woman. Women were supposed to listen to your authority. So even as Akina Jeff were growing up, they believed at some point you're supposed to order a woman around. Women were existed to serve us. So can you imagine the shock of this man when he's now 23 and he's realizing, kwani mama kona pesa yake, kwani anaishi peke yake, kwani anaweza fanya vitu peke yake,
na kwani anaweza nikata,
anaweza nikata, and they can just, like a woman can now leave my house and continue with a life without me, consequences of any sort. So that shift is happening right now, where I think men are just being angry in the sense that women have options and that hasn't existed. And I think it's happening very fast, because I think for women to start accessing, was it loans, access to banks, things like
buying
those,
assets,
was as recently as 80s and 90s. So you can imagine in these few years, in these 30, 40 years, all of a sudden, women were supposed to listen to, we were supposed to puppeteer them with money. And now all these things can't work, and they're just in a source of confusion, a state of confusion.
And that's so profound, because, you see, it's what I was saying. People who pass on cultures to us don't tell us that this culture was built off a different context. Because you see,
they might not know as well.
They might not know as well, right? Because if we're being honest, back in the day, a woman's life led up to marriage.
True.
That was what you expected from a woman, right? So you're being taught the whole time, this is what you expect as a woman. This is how to behave for your husband. This is how to behave as a mother, right? So now, men are also calculated to understand that, or indoctrinated to understand that. So now we are facing a situation where there's a lot of expectation of that. And that also comes from something from a woman's perspective, where the man is the provider purely. You understand?
Even if I earn more than him.
You see? So now, that's where the paradox of what the societal thing I was talking about comes in. Like, you are African inherently. You identify with African cultures, but you adopt modernism. Ndio maana unasikia, Lydia, you're dating me, you earn more than me, but you're still looking at me in terms of, I don't earn more than you, so I am less of a man compared to the man who earns more than you. You understand? And those paradoxes happen crossway. But to my point of possession is a problem, I'll say something, and this might get me cooked. I once in the course of a relationship, I bought a chick I was dating then a wig that was above 40,000, and I wouldn't say that I had that money, but I just bought her that wig. Yeah, I felt like she deserved it at the time. Now, am I with that woman still today? No. She went across her perspective, her life. She went on about her life, and the possession problem I mean is, when we got done, I did not think of those things as things that were supposed to return a return on investment. I thought, in my head, I don't regret doing it at the time, because I believe I was doing it for the right reasons, right? But the problem comes in, not many people process things like that. Is that umelipa school fees, there's nowhere you're going because umekulipia school fees. And that's why I made content and told people, as a man, please invest in the woman that you are into or interested in as much as you're willing to lose. Also, think of it as, if you're going to give her 20,000, yeah, or the 26,000 or 1 million shillings, think of this 1 million shillings as money you would be okay throwing in the river. And I'm not saying women are not a good investment. I'm saying your investment does not directly tie to her loyalty.
Loaning
But
money.
let
When
me-
you
Yeah,
loan
it's the
money,
same.
be ready to loan money that if I'm giving Lydia money, it's money
That
that I'm
you're
sure
willing
if
to
you don't
lose.
pay back,
You're willing to
it's
lose.
fine.
Iko sawa.
And that's why my question goes like, are men having a problem with taking no's? Like they don't understand what a no is. You
Yes.
can invest on me, and all these investments you're doing on me, you're hoping in one way or another I might accept you for the long term. What if the investment has not warranted me to accept you for long
And that's
a long
why
term?
we are making the same point, literally. We're making the same point. I'm saying
But
men are not.
You're not asserting that men are having a problem.
I actually
with
am.
accepting.
Actually, I'm saying.
I don't know if I don't know about your upbringing, but in my upbringing, I feel like boys didn't hear the word no
enough to know it's
so
a
that's
word.
why they cannot process it in their adulthood.
I don't
Women,
think so.
we had no.
I don't think so.
No, you
May
cannot.
I feel like
You cannot sit
may I
like
feel
that.
like men,
You cannot say like that. You cannot
boys
talk
in
to
our
men like that.
were out there doing whatever. They'd come back at whatever time. That I can't process where I was growing up, where I felt like there was no constantly from when men were being addressed. When
I think it's a different perspective, and that varies from case to case, because I believe men have their own barriers. It may not come in the form of a no, but it comes in the form of other things. Like growing up as a young boy, we may not hear like what you're saying. You've given like very relatable examples. Haufai kukaa hivyo. Wasichana hawavaangi hivi. You understand? As we didn't get that. But as a man growing up, there's a lot of checks and balances the world gives you, that failure for a man is more definite than failure for a woman. That is just the reality.
True,
that is the reality of us as guys. We don't hear it in form of no's. We hear it in a different version. And what you're describing,
I was building up on her point to say, when men were growing up, they were told, you see, the way boys were being told in school, work hard and have money, women will come later.
exactly.
Work hard and have money. So now you've worked your life, you have money.
You have the
and
money,
then
and
this woman
she's
is
not.
telling
She's
no,
not.
no.
You understand? And it's
Unashangaa
understand
huku ni
why.
wapi?
si ndio nakwambia na
Why she
hiyo
said
paradox
no?
inaanzanga kitambo. We experience very different realities living in the same buildings. For example, as a man, another thing that manifests itself clearly as a barrier is the barrier of vulnerability, right? So me and you, Lydia, we are siblings in the same house. Ukichapo, you are allowed to cry. Mi nikichapo, I'm told wanaume hawaliangi. Then I go to school, I'm beaten by a teacher, and then when I start almost crying, ananiambia unataka kulia mbele ya wasichana. So the next thing that processes in my mind and gets hammered is you can't cry, and more so in front of a woman. So we hear no's in very different situations. That's why I'm saying the thing that men are not accepting is your investment now does not tie in.
But what kind of investment?
No, I'm saying
Pizzas and
whatever it is.
KFCs.
No, I'm saying.
Let's go back to Femicide issue.
No.
What investment
Si
have
ndio
you
nasema
done?
whatever
Only, what investment
huyu wa
have you
video ya
done?
jana, huyu wa video ya jana, I want you to quote for me what he said. Alisema nini?
Leave
Huyu wa
alone,
video ya
before I come
Givenchy.
to him, there was a
Tunawanunulia?
lady,
I want you to say it clearly. Tunawanunulia nini?
pizza, alafu mnatuambia
Mna whatever, but alisema pizza ni how much, Lydia?
the most expensive pizza I've seen is 1,600.
Ndo nakwambia,
in huge like
to
at
you,
Cafe Java.
ndo nakwambia,
I've
to you
seen
you
that.
might take it as pizza KFC. To that man it's investment. That's why I'm saying you can't trivialize it if it is harming you inherently.
But now let's go back then to courtship. How is a man supposed to court me to accept me, for me to accept to date him?
How does courtship even work?
How
It's
does
just
it,
us talking? Where do we talk on phone?
You
No.
impress me.
We talk
here
on
and there.
restaurants and KFC and
Yes.
pizza and whatever,
Yes.
right? And I'm saying, if as a man you cannot accept that this money you're spending, investment, resources, whatever you want to call it, does not tie into Lydia kuingia box, ama Lydia kunikubali, then you will end up doing things like that. That's why I said, invest as much as you're willing to lose.
And also men should learn that, because I felt there's certain situations where I've talked to men and it feels like men are playing the victim. Men should also learn that you can withhold your money. This money has not been forced out of your pocket.
No.
Do not go and give people money and then claim they've eaten your money. Hakuna mtu alikupiga ngeta.
And me,
the
I'm
same
like,
way women say, I don't want you, is the same way you can say, I'm not spending your money. You can be bullied. You'll be told you're stingy. It's okay.
Ukisema hivyo kama mwanaume kidogo, you'll stay single.
Sasa, that's on you.
How now?
That's on you.
Because there was that
even the
case.
same way as we've decided we don't want to get killed, so we are single.
There was
That's
that
on
case, the lady who, this was a trending video. The lady who she was rescued by a man with this guy who had bought her chicken and chips.
Oh yeah.
And the lady was so furious, like, you want to go with me because of this
600
chicken?
Nah, ilikuwa issue.
600 worth chicken.
I remember.
And this guy is so adamant and so assertive, like, nimembaya.
So for me, I usually say, don't trivialize what you think is not investment, because if we are talking about you getting harmed, if it's for as little as 600, then you cannot
then
think
can
about
we
it.
go around and say that, like, men, stop using money to get women, so that women won't eat your money and refuse, and your investment refuse to return.
and like, let's say in the case of that woman who had eaten fries worth 600. Once this man said, I want you now that you've eaten my money, if this woman would have given this man the 600 back,
what would have happened?
Would she have been left?
So no, that's why I was saying that now goes back to the man. You understand? Ukirudishiwa sasa alafu.
Ale ukisharudishwa hiyo pesa yako sasa. So umesema nimekula 20k, ndio 20k bas.
But it's always the trivial money of 600 bucks. Yeah. Because I know, you know me, I've worked in restaurants for 7 years. I've seen men invest in women millions, cars, Mercedes, boutiques, cosmetic shops, buying them houses, and at the end of the day, 2 years, 3 years later, they split up. And the man goes on with his life. I don't think a man who has invested money that is worth being called money will be here ranting about his money being eaten.
No.
And if this is the case, let me tell you, bring up cases of women who've literally sponsored men. In this Nairobi, men are looking clean out here.
Because of their women.
Bank accounts have been written.
You know, this is content that Lydia has made. So you're preaching to the choir.
Full shiny beard, the shoes are, you know,
they're looking scrambled.
And it is a woman behind all that, and we're like, oh God, that
and these
man.
Women get left. These women get
and
left,
we count
and
our
you pick
losses
up and you move.
Me, I have paid rent. I've paid school fees for my boyfriend, for my boyfriend's sister. I've given.
Why didn't you? Let me ask you a question. Why didn't you act out when they left? Why didn't you kill anybody?
I counted my losses. It was a part of investment. If the investment refused to return, you count your losses.
So
now, isn't that the point? Now, isn't that the point I was making? I was saying...
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying men now. These men who are killing and ranting about their money being eaten. If we women are supposed to sit here and start speaking about how we have invested in women, in men, and even call on mention the men and put their pictures on social media.
Why would you want to dox? Why would you not want to dox these guys?
These men would not have anywhere to hide. We have literally fed some of you. Me, I came across my ex some time back, and he was still with the outfit that I bought him. 2 years later, he still have that t-shirt and jeans. 2 years later, you still have that t-shirt and jeans.
Here's the point, Lydia. I'm saying the only reason you are so okay cutting your losses is because you understood. It's because you understood that this investment did not pay out. You understand? That's why nilisema kama mwanaume, invest only what you are willing to lose.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as a point as it is. Like, and don't go spending on a woman.
Or pizza, can you make it clear I'm buying you pizza because I want to have sex with you later, so that ni disagree ama ni agree before you invest, because some are coming in the name of a relationship, like there were any case. So she was chatting with this guy on Instagram, and they started like a relationship. The guy was in a hurry to leave. I don't know, he was saying he's going outside the country. So the lady was like, I've just started the relationship, let's just meet. I get to meet the person before he leaves the country. You see, that's a relationship. How do we blame her for going to meet the man she's in a relationship with? They're coming, these guys, in a relationship. How will I know?
What we can't do is blame a woman for losing her life. That one makes zero sense.
No, my issue is
even to the
most of these men are coming disguised in a relationship.
And most of the femicide cases we're talking about, probably 10 of the 12, are women who've been killed by their own spouses in the house they lived with this spouse. So even if we
it's
go
a
into
disagreement thing.
Yeah, so even if we go into, oh, Sijui, you ate money, that is like one case. It's cases here and there. The problem is that women are dying in spaces that they consider their own and their safe spaces with people who they've known for years. Because if you want to keep saying prostitution, the women who died are wives of people. Even if you wanted to say it's fornication, some of them are married.
Let's call them commitments.
Yeah.
Because you see, when you start talking about marriage, it becomes complicated. But a commitment is where people have decided, one or the other, we are with each other. You understand? It makes it more easier. So what I like about Lydia is that she's a content creator. And like at some point I was saying, as content creators, we also shape a lot of opinions for some people, right?
Yeah. People
will literally question their morality using your opinion. Somebody will come into your inbox asking you a question, hoping you say something that either validates them or sets them straight, right? And this is one of the things that I was talking. And you're correct to say that good numbers of cases for these situations are not only in the prostitution context, right? But speaking of that prostitution context, the way I usually look at it is like, we cannot shy away from it. You understand? If you shy away from talking about it, then it's like sweeping things under the rug. And I'll give you an example. You see, for example, Lydia, there was a point you said in your content, don't date broke men. Right?
No, I didn't. So and that's
the hook of the video. The hook of the video was that, right?
No. Don't date jobless.
Okay, jobless men.
That is how people. I'm very keen with my word. That's how people take things out of context. Don't date a jobless man.
And you see, even in the
get broke sometimes.
in the broke is lack of money. You could be waiting for your
jobless is lack of job to earn.
Yeah, broke is
exactly.
Relative.
And you see, for me, it's different, right? Yeah. So my point is, even in the explain of that video, the context you set it was like, don't wanawake wasijekele a certain burden with jobless men, right? You see, a jobless man is a broke man. Like, you can't separate those two.
No, some say, money, if what if he's earning this amount, what if I'm not talking
let me
about
tell
whatever
you,
leave
even the context alone. I want to draw an example from your content, right?
Who is not earning at all, like at all.
Hey, let me tell you, Nisawa. Now, the example I'm trying to draw is this, right? There's a girl somewhere who's exploring her options, right? And listens to Lydia Wanjiro, who's a content creator I watch. So that affirms her. The way we were just having that conversation, the way this guy came to Jivanji and said, as a result of pizza, we will do this to you. That has affirmed someone somewhere who has been duped by a lady or a mekuliwa fair to go do something. Content creators and people who speak opinions on the internet affirm people's inner thoughts without knowing. And the reason why I bring that up is because this prostitution context of women losing their life in the prostitution context is built off a money conversation. Now, what is that girl who is looking at that content thinking, by the way, Lydia, you are right. I won't date a jobless or broke man. However she interprets it, right? Then the person who she's talking to postures as a person with money. You see, there is a leaning to that towards that man. You understand? Was a posturer. You understand? Anajifanya akona do, ana attract mwanamke anajua akona do. So money attracts money, right? Then you're telling this girl that I am okay to lean more on the guy who has money. So by virtue of stuff like that, and I'm not saying your content was the root cause, right? Kuna watu wengine who are more extreme than you. I know you see the conversations around sprinkle, right? And you see how people take those certain bits and pieces of those content and radicalize them to mean. Yeah. And they call them dusties and brokies. So they are names for them, right?
Yes.
So you're saying that it's okay for me to put myself in a compromising situation. Now, that this is what this person is thinking. Provided mtu akona pesa na atani treat, unamlead in that point. Ndio maana nasemanga saa ingine, even us as social content creators, because our content is purely based off social issues, right? There is a certain responsibility. That's why mimi I keep on emphasizing. Wewe ukijua uko na kadem mahali umekaweka, unakalipia rent. Wewe jua hiyo investment ya miezi 10, if it's 7,000 umelipa 70,000. On month 8 akisema hakutaki, assume hiyo pesa ulipea charity ama ulitupa kwa choo ikaingia. You understand? And that's basically the responsibility we carry as content creators. No, right? There's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
much.
It's a lot, and I don't think
we
It
can't
within
finish.
a split of second, things can
change, yeah.
Can change.
for you. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm glad for the perspectives, at least having people, and I'm glad that it was you two who talk on social issues so much. So basically, that brings us to the end of the podcast. But
Can I mention just one point before you end the podcast?
Yes, there's a...
Please, your sisters also, you girls have friends, right? Please listen to your friends. Your friends oftentimes are not know that guy who has questionable character.
But
I've
our sisters, when they're in love, they don't listen.
I've sat with women.
Love is blind,
even it's not
and
even love.
nowadays
I was
it's
shocked.
dead.
Let me tell you, I was shocked that a lady is telling me that she was at a job somewhere and this guy who they were working for is known. There are questions of woman battery. There are questions of he has sexual assault issues hanging around him. But anaambiwa na marafiki zake don't go. And she still goes. And then the context of this conversation was, I survived. Tulisumbuana usiku mzima, nikalia, nikamdanganya on periods. She survived. Only to hear this guy, the next girl was beaten in her house by this guy.
There was one who was dating a priest. And the priest had a history of... this priest was working in a missionary school for girls. And he had a case or a history of assaulting, raping students. But she was so in love. After she finished college, they reunited. They bumped into each other with the priest one time. And the priest is serving, I don't know, like 18 years in jail. But she still feels like, no, this guy...
It's not enough.
He doesn't deserve that because he's so loving, he's so caring.
Oh, wait. He doesn't deserve the punishment.
Yeah. And then the allegations, there are no substantial facts for him being sentenced or being warranted 18 years in prison. So she feels like they did him bad. They did him dirty. And she's dating a priest.
Witchcraft is real.
She said she's waiting for him. He's
after 18 years.
That's what we were saying. We talk to our sisters. How do we talk to our sisters? They don't.
I'm shocked. Like, you could literally...
A priest.
You hearing your friends are telling you, don't go to the club with that guy. He spikes people's drink. And you're like, but he's treating me nice. What?
No, they say you are jealous. You know, when you tell Olive, when you tell your fellow woman, hey, Shiro, okay, that guy, he looks funny to me. The way he talk, the way he's... Shiro will be like, Olive, so you would rather like stay away from people's business.
Yeah. I hope if you're that person, you don't, even that person who was at Jivanji the other day, I'm hoping he really does not have daughters. If you're those women who don't listen to women, I hope you don't give birth, because you're going to pass this notion to your sons and your daughters. And there's this time, the sprinkle issue, the whatever. And
I don't like that lady. I've never said it on social media.
Are we ready for
that? Are you ready for that? A married woman is advising people on how to...
I've never even addressed about that sprinkle lady.
Let me tell you.
She's the one, the way he was saying about the narrative of man with money. What if the man is too old, he's smelling? She says you go drink something
become
so that
blind.
You don't see his oldness. I don't like that lady.
Content creators can also be con men.
No.
Con women.
No, can we also define what we want to follow? Because I would rather date a broke guy. Let me tell you, and that's why I don't want people to say jobless meant broke. Mm-hmm. I want us to know we are operating with 20,000
and someone who also has ambition. You might be dating someone who might not have a job currently, but they are looking and they have
they are
dreams
working
of
on
becoming
themselves
better.
and they are sending themselves. Let me direct translate. Rather than these people with money and pesa yangu.
We have to be very careful, and I think we agree that it has to come from unlearning from the time we've been kids. And that means sons and daughters. And the point I was building on before we got into that was there was this sprinkle nonsense. It wasn't sprinkle per se, but it was women inciting other women. We go for money. We take money from men. And then there was a whole thread now on Facebook where now women came in and said, I used to be this girl until I realized I have a son. And I realized I don't want my son to be someone's ATM. It is only at this point that they started changing their parenting. So if you are a parent, I will appeal to parents. The traumas we're talking about right now, may I have a whole podcast based on trauma. If the traumas we're talking about right now were instilled on us by our parents. So parenting is a huge, huge deal. If you're a parent, be very careful about the notions you pass on to your children. Be very careful about what sort of world you'd want them to have. Because right now, Kina John Matara, we can't help. Already, people commenting on Twitter and saying those things, we can't help. They're already 30, they're already 40, they believe in these things.
18 plus
we can only start with the ones who are now coming up and build a different world for them. And hopefully the rest of us can stay safe within this time. Hopefully the government can do something. Hopefully people can be brought to book. All of this, I just hate that we are saying hopefully because Kenya has let us down multiple times. So here we are. Okay, so that brings us to the end of our episode. Thank you so much, Lydia, for coming.
Welcome.
Thank you, Wes, for coming. I loved the conversation. I hope this will give you more perspective if you are on the fence, if you're also just thinking, where do I lie as a man? Where does my perspective lie? If you've not affirmed your girlfriend that, or speak on the matter, or just mention that you at least do not support murder, it would be really, really nice. But let's see, we keep fighting another day. We hope to all stay alive one more day to see our dreams come true. But until next time, this is the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO. Bye. Let's talk friendships. How do you navigate friendships? Are you the friend who just doesn't have any friends? And why is that? Are you the person who has a very strong network of friends around you? And how did you get to that? And also, are you the toxic friend, the one people are cutting off? Do you know you are the one who's being cut off? Or are you the one cutting people off? And why are you cutting people off? I feel like we talk a lot about romantic relationships and we tend to sideline friendships when friendships really is what we get to deal with every day. I feel like you get to talk and meet people every day that become your friends, but we've put a lot of concentration on romantic relationships. So next week, we'll be talking about how we navigate friendships. Hopefully, again, we'll have 2 guests in studio. Hopefully a secure one and an anxious, probably avoidant one to give us perspectives. But until then, tell me your stories on how you navigate friendships. You know, you can reach me on all my socials at OLAVEORAWO and on email at olaveorawo@gmail.com. Did I say too many ats? But that's okay. Bye.
I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.